I think. Got Twitch open. Pretty sure it's going. Let me check my mic, make sure it's on. And it is, because I can hear my own wonderful voice through the headset. Although,
The one night vacation.
oh, and I
It's
forgot
a
to mute
thing
it.
of beauty.
There we go. Now it's muted. Hello, everyone. This is Chris Ingerson again. It is September 29th, and this is the September 29th TextQuest dev stream. So, I am back from Unite, which was a very, very interesting and fun convention. I definitely hope I get the chance to go again next year or at some point. It's very interesting hearing about the directions that Unity is going in. A couple of success stories or failure stories, a lot of failure stories. From other independent developers talking about their projects. Cool side note, I got to meet the creator of TextMesh Pro, which is a Unity Store asset that I really like, and am eventually going to implement into TextQuest once I want to go through and remake all the menus again. But he was a pretty cool guy. And if you're making any games that involve text in really any format, I would actually suggest taking a look at that package. It's pretty nice. So there's my little shill for the day, I suppose. Anyway, so as you probably know, we didn't stream last week because I was in Boston, away from my computer. And this week we are going to continue where we left off before I left, which was working on custom content creation. I should just call it C3 from now on. That's a lot easier. And we're going to see what we can do with. Last thing we left off with was moving the camera around. We're going to continue working on that today, although I have made some improvements to the UI itself, and I'll run you through those right now. So before we actually had to have the user manually input the texture path, and now what you do is you can click on this button here, and it'll bring up this directory menu, and it starts in the custom folder of the build, which is, let me pull it up real quick. In the current since I'm doing this in the editor, the folder's in a different place, but it'll have the custom each build will have a custom folder, and inside that custom folder is where all this content is being shown from. Oops. So as you can see, we have a URL path up at the top, or URI, I don't know what, local path anyway. So you can navigate into directories and select the files there. You can use the back button to go back up one level. And I'm working right now to probably have these textures be rendered out on the side here, because right now we have these just two generic icons, one for directories and one for files. Don't they look pretty? I made them myself. Anyway, currently it just does, if it's a directory, it pulls up this blue folder, and if it's a file, it just does this sort of white papery thing. And I'm probably going to end up having this, if it's a texture, like it has the PNG extension or a JPEG extension or whatever, it'll actually render that out in a small square there. That way you can see what it looks like at least. I'm not going to do that for now, just because actually we might get to that tonight if we can get the movement stuff done real quick. It wouldn't be too bad to do that. But yeah, so I can just select one of these textures. It doesn't show up right away because you have to hit update texture, but bam, it's right there. We can do the same thing for normal. We can select Stonewall normal, and then bam, updates it. And this is all still on the same, let me find a test cube. Oh, it's doing it to the, oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, I need to change that. It should be creating an instance of the material. I wonder why it's not. Well, in any case, it's not making a new material each time, so that might be something we look at real quick to see why I don't have it making an instance material the first time it does it. And then, yeah, you can do the same thing with the height. So, bam. Subtle, because you have to adjust the slider. But and I do not have a way yet to actually get rid of the texture. I'm thinking of adding a clear button. That way people don't have to try and navigate to a non-existent file or something like that, but for the time being, that's how far. That's some of the minor changes I made with the UI. I like that a lot better. I like having that file explorer. And actually, it was kind of fun writing this thing. It's not that bad. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. And as you can see, it actually scrolls in and out whenever I use the mouse wheel. because I don't have anything checking to make sure that you can't scroll. Anyway, it was actually pretty fun writing this. I might see how far I can... yeah, right, I chose a folder, or file. I might see how far I can expand on that, just because it's probably a nice tool for people to have, so if I can make something with that, I probably will. Don't know if I'll distribute it for free. Probably would. Or just not distribute it at all. I'm pretty lazy. Anyway. So, what do we want to do? Oh, right. Let me drag over my code here. So this is the texture edit view. I can get rid of this stuff now. I bet... Let's go to... On texture loaded. I bet that's what it is. Oh, not peak definition. Go to definition. Go to definition. So what I bet it's doing is that I just set the shared material right there. So before I was using the image as it was being created, or I was using a texture as it was being created to create a dictionary of materials based on strings. That would be my cat hopping onto my lap. She shouldn't be up here. And I think how I'm going to have to handle this now is because at the bottom I'm doing an asynchronous loading now instead of just holding everything up as it goes step by step. So it's going to try to load the texture, the normal, the height, whatever other files you give it, all at the same time instead of doing it sequentially. So since it's asynchronous like that now, I actually cannot reliably use the front, just the texture itself anymore. I have to find some better naming convention. It might be that I have to give the user the option to actually, if I play this and see our current UI, it might be that I have to end up giving the user the option to basically make a new material, and then they can give it a name. Then I could use that as a way of storing it, basically. And in the future, these toggles will actually control the materials of the properties of the material. I don't know why I was trying to say the material of properties. So if you don't want a normal map, by default they'll all be checked off, and if you want a normal map, you'll click check on the normal and on the height and whatnot. And if it's unchecked, it'll gray out the appropriate areas. So, but that's not in there yet. That's just sort of set up for it. So, coming up with a new material that might... Let me pull this menu again. I mean, I guess I could probably have like a drop-down menu above the update texture button that has... I should actually probably call that... texture edit. Put this in here. Just turn you on. That'll be better while we're working anyway. Update. This is a button. Right, yep. It should probably say actually update material. Since we'll be updating the actual material now. But what I could do is, this is a vertical layout, right? Basically duplicate this, move this up. Instead of update, oh jeez, okay, that was super weird. This would be materials. This would be materials, not materials with 2 R's, with 1, materials button, and we could have just material list. So what I could do is, whenever the user clicks this material list button, I have another list pop out here with all of the materials assigned to it. Before I get too far into that, we should finish up the movement stuff on the camera. Since that's where we left off. So we'll get back to this once we finish up with that, I don't think it's going to take too much longer to really get around that, or to really get movement going. But for the time being, just for the sake of consistency, which I'm always great at. Turn this off, and let's go ahead and open up. Do I have it? Texture edit camera. Okay. Current zoom. So we have zoom, which works. We know that zoom works just fine. Ooh, what the heck? Oh, right, because Windows Studio or Visual Studio. Can't just. There we go. Okay. Okay. So there's our zoom, and now we want pan. Right? Pretty sure it's called pan. So private void pan float amount, because this is actually going to be very awkward. How do we want to handle this? So panning is essentially. Well, here, let me open up Maya to show you what I mean. Oh, and I've upgraded to Maya 2016. I don't think I've really shown you guys Maya since the last time I did modeling for you. That was Maya LT 2015. This is Maya LT 2016. Not a lot of changes. They just sort of move things around, like they always do. So essentially, we want to be able to do this, scroll in and out, and move around, click and drag, preferably. If worse comes to worse, I mean, I could have a slider. So you would have a little slider. You can say rotate to the right, or rotate horizontally, or rotate vertically, and then you would actually rotate the model itself rather than the camera. I'm not crazy about that, though. I would prefer to have the camera actually zooming in, in and around an object. But the alt clicking would be weird for me. I don't know how to do. I could just try, regular clicking and dragging around. That would probably be fine. In 3D modeling, most of the time it's alt click to do this sort of rotation. So close that. Let's save. It's just a cube. So, great. This is going to be fun. I'm not even sure if there's a mouse.delta or anything like that. Yeah, here, let me open up Unity. Although I guess I should save that real quick. Open this up and then go to edit, project settings, input, mouse X. Interesting. Okay. What if I try this? If input dot get mouse button 0, which is the left mouse button, pan input dot get axis. Does everything I hate. I hate doing get axis. Mouse X. Right? Yes, mouse X. Okay. And this is going to be the fun part. So... I wonder if I can tell it to move right and always look at the cube and then have it. I'm worried that I'm going to have to calculate out a giant circle basically and say this is the path that you're currently on, and then whenever you zoom in and out you'll recalculate that. But it might just be, if I'm lucky, I might just be able to say, um, basically always look at the cube and move to the right. And since moving to the right will force you to move the camera to look at the cube still, then moving to the right should basically create its own circle without us worrying about it, if we're lucky. So we will tell it to look at the origin and then say, just basically copy this. Right, I think. Times, I think, amount. If we're lucky. Let's just see what this does. I don't even know what this is going to do, actually. Again, if I'm lucky, then it means it'll detect this mouse X, which I'm guessing, I mean, it looks like that's what it does. I haven't really done much with movement. Oh, yay! Oh, it needs to go so much faster. But, okay. Let me do public float pan speed. And I might end up having sliders. Let's do 5F. Actually, I probably should make that like 2F. I might end up having sliders that the player can adjust. But is mount even used in Zoom? It is. Okay, I don't know. Maybe this should be pan speed. I don't know. Oh no, actually, you know what? I do know what it should be. It should be amount times pan speed. Okay, let's see what this says. But yeah, I might end up adding sliders. I probably will actually, so that players can control how fine and how fast their movement is. Yeah, it looks like I was right. It's gonna take care of the problem itself, basically. So it'll automatically create a circle, which is nice. That's good. I'm also going to change this back to 5. And then we will say, we'll do the exact same thing. Oh, actually, you know what? This will be, crap. You know what? Crap. Okay. Let me just do this. It's going to be pan X. This will be pan Y. Because we want it to, you want to be able to look at everywhere other than the, or you don't want to just be able to rotate horizontally. You want to be able to do it vertically as well. Copy this. Y. And this will be up. Oh, that should be pan Y. Okay. I have to change this as well, back to 5. Once it compiles! Let's see what happens. Scrolling is just fine. Dragging. It's a little wonky. You can sort of see the center model shaking, which is probably not actually shaking. It's because the camera is moving and then snapping. So I wonder... I mean, it's not bad because it's not happening every time. It's only when you move. Oh, that was... It does not like that. Okay. But, yeah, I like that. That's actually pretty nice. I'm also thinking of not using the crosshair cursor for this. It's the default cursor set up by my UI system. And if I was... I never know, because sometimes I pleasantly surprise myself. If I was trying to be smart in the past, I might have a convenient way to change it. But if I was not as smart as I want to believe that I was, then I probably wasn't. I'll have to make a function for that. Shouldn't be too hard. I think I know how to do it already, but I just haven't had the time to actually do it yet. But so yeah, we have scrolling, which needs to be faster, in my opinion. I like having very fast scrolling. And we have rotation. So now we can look at our model from all angles, which means that now if I were to load this, let's go to stone wall. Let's get stone wall normal and stone wall height. Let's update material. Now if we were to go in, we can actually see all of our wonderful textures. And I wonder why it looks like that. Looks like only one side is really being lit very well. Just out of curiosity, my cat really wants attention. I'm sorry, cat. I am working. You're making me appear very unprofessional. If I had a webcam, I would show you. But, not like many people care about my cat, though. Anyway, where was I? Right, I was checking this weird... Where's the directional light? F here. Ooh. Oh. Huh. They updated the sprite for directional light in 5.2. It's not like a yellow color. That, or for some reason the shader is just completely messed up and it's rendering like 10,000 colors. Huh. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Because it looks like... Yeah. It could just be that the built-in Unity cube has a weird shadow map and it's not liking the textures and the materials that have been applied to it. I honestly don't know. That's kind of awkward. But for the time being, I guess it's okay. Oh, no, it is. Yeah. Ah, crap. That's not gonna work. Yeah, because it's moving whenever I drag the slider, which is... I mean, it's not terrible, but it means that you can't exactly see the effects of stuff like the height slider. So that's what it looks like with 0.005. And since I rotate to 0.008, you can't see it unless I go back here, and then it's very noticeable. But, well, that's a convenience feature. For now, I'm just happy that we got the movement stuff down. That was a lot faster than I thought it was going to be. A lot more complicated. Sure, it's not as smooth as I would like, but, for now, I think it'll work. And that'll be something that I just have to come back through and mess with in my own time, because it's probably going to be boring to see me just sit here and tweak tiny values to get everything running properly. So, what was the next thing we were going to do? Oh, the material list. Right. Okay. Oh, got all this test stuff going. Yes, Visual Studio, I know. You need to reload everything. Let's see. Get rid of that. Oh, right. Then we can get rid of... No, I didn't have anything here. Oh, that's nice. Oh, and these two classes are extensions of that file viewer class that I started work on. They're essentially file viewers that will look for specific types of files. So the Image Explorer would look for image files, and only image files would show up. And Model Explorer would look for only model files, so .obj, .fbx, and whatever formats we can think of there. Here we are. I don't need this anymore. Yeah, right here. See, we got the onTexture loaded. It makes a new material. And then it doesn't apply it to... Well, that would certainly explain it. So, target dot material equals mat. That might actually solve my instance problem, because it was probably actually making instances, it just was not applying them. Okay, so let's play. Let's get stone wall, and let's get normal and a height. The reason I want to load all three at the same time is actually I want to see if I'm probably going to need a safety feature, but the texture needs to load first since it's the one that's going to have the material. Well, I guess the materialist thing will fix that anyway, so for now, not too worried about it. Test cube. See, so it still has custom material. Interesting. So if I were to... Oh. It's going to be under TextQuest custom content. Or scripts. Content creation. Views. Okay. Materials. I don't know where I put it. Probably test. Okay. This is why we have the search bar. Except I can't spell. Oh. Huh. Interesting. Well, I guess I'm working in 5.2.1 now, and maybe they changed how they did it, because this custom material doesn't say instance anymore. But it's not this material, the base material that it copies from. So I guess instead of copying an instance, or instead of calling it instance, it just calls it the original name. Huh. All right. Well, that works. So it was making an instance, and I just was on a wild goose chase. So that's good to know, though. Okay. Yeah, and one of these things I'm probably gonna have to figure out is the stupid, weird dithering I'm getting here, or the weird lighting effect. Eh. Okay. So let me turn all this on. So, having a materialist probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Since asynchronously loading textures all at the same time could mean that, because I don't want to have each texture that's loaded make a new material, because then I would just end up with 10,000 materials, because there would be a new material for the texture, new material for the normal, new material for the height, and they would just overlap each other. But I can't just have the main texture loaded either, because there could be weird instances of maybe I want a normal and a height map but no texture, in which case nothing would get made. They would just apply to that base custom content material, and then that would end up affecting all subsequent items. So I think what's going to end up happening is users will be able to create a material. That material will receive a name that the player gives it, and then they will be able to select from all the materials they made so far. It's going to be a super fun thing to save out. It's probably going to be a massive JSON file. All of this stuff is. Actually, it won't be that bad. Because the idea for this custom content creation is that I'm eventually going to load everything out to JSON files, and then if you want to have someone else play your custom content, you will just give them a bunch of JSON files. Well, I mean, you'll give them probably the entire folder that you have, but those JSON files are the only ones that really need to be looked at by the computer, and it'll parse through everything, look through all the paths, and automatically put it together for the other player. So they won't have to set all this stuff up on their end. Which, I mean, that's expected. That's nothing groundbreaking, but that's going to be a fun part to write. I actually don't mind doing that. It's always fun to export massive JSON blobs. So yeah, let's start on the material list. Or, well, we could do that, or we could work on enabling and disabling material features. I would ask what you guys want, but no one's in the chat room. Because, I'm so popular. People are too intimidated to speak, You know how it is. Actually, it says I have one viewer. But since I'm watching it on my own computer to make sure that the stream is functioning, I am that one viewer. How sad. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and do the material list just because that is the more interesting one, I think. Enabling and disabling features would be a nice thing, but it's going to have a lot of making sure that everything gets grayed out and blah 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 blah. Rather boring. Well, not boring, but less visually interesting than a brand new menu that has create stuff on it. Let's go ahead and so this is our options. So let's go ahead and make a new image. It is going to be stretch left. Well, for now, it's not that bad. I wonder why. No. Oh, okay, that's why. Yeah. So make pivot 1, and then position X should be. Oh no, pivot should be 0. Okay. Hold on. Oh, right. 1, 1. There we go. I did it backwards. That's what I want. And then I think it's solid. Right. All my fancy stuff. Solid, which is 2 by 8 by 8. 8 by 8 texture. Go back to black. Nope. That up again. 200. Yep, 200. What it looks like. Although I probably could make it 225. Make it a little darker so that it visually looks different. And then let's go ahead and bump that up to 200. Or probably 300. We'll call this materials. Here, have a stretched object at the top. Make its pivot 1. Position to be 0, which means you have to enter 1 then 0, so you don't get that stupid number. Add a... This is going to be a lot of stuff. Actually, we've done most of this before. Add a vertical layout group, padding of 5, child force expand width, don't worry about height. Upper left, that's fine. Let's do padding 5 across the board. Add component and content size fitter. Horizontal fit, unconstrained vertical fit is preferred size, so it's going to be 10 because there's nothing there. Weird that it's 10, it should be 0. But meh, there's nothing in there anyway. So this is going to be the scroll area. Material scroll area. Don't forget we want to do a mask and a scroll bar, and it's going to scroll. Oh wait, not scroll bar. Why did I do that? Remove. Scroll rect. There we go. Here, change this to. Oh, it's only vertical. Change it to clamped. No inertia. Change the scroll sensitivity to 5. That's just because I like those settings. Inertia means that it'll bounce, sort of, or no, it'll speed up and slow down. So if you were to drag it and fling your mouse and then let go, it would actually keep scrolling until it stopped. I don't like doing that. I prefer it to just like scroll when I scroll, drag when I drag, and then immediately stop as soon as I do. Although, who knows, I might change that because, there is a certain fun in just flinging the menu and watching it spin. But, for the time being. Viewport, that's new. Huh. I don't know what viewport is. I'm actually curious. I want to see what that is real quick. Viewport. Viewport rect transform as a parent of the content. Okay. Weird. Huh, I'll have to look into that. That didn't used to be there. And it seems kind of redundant, because you would expect the viewport to be the parent object, I guess. Although this could just be because maybe people were sticking content or scroll recs on some third-party object, basically, that wasn't the parent of the object being scrolled. Who knows? I don't know. I'll have to look into that. I hope it does nothing weird. Hooray for updating Unity versions. So we have our scroll area. And I've been getting that really weird, this warning, because it's not right. It's saying that the parent of this object has a layout, or is a layout group component, but it's not. And it's not in a layout. So it's kind of weird. I think it's some bug where it's probably detecting stuff above it in the hierarchy. Because the options area, that certainly is a layout group, but it's not the parent of the materials thing. So I don't know. I think that's a bug in Unity right now. It doesn't break anything, and it works just fine. It's just annoying because they have that little warning box that says, "Hey, something's wrong." And I'm just like, no, it's not. Okay, so we got that. We got that set up, and for now, I'm not going to worry about a scroll bar. We will want to go ahead and make a button, I guess. Let's do UI, not event button. We're going to get rid of the text. Go back up here, hit F. And then, in addition to this, we're going to add a layout element. And have a preferred height of 50. Or like 40. Of course, now that I got rid of the text, I actually want it back because it's going to be the label. Go figure. Scale it, center it, and have it so that it is always 40 from the right. We'll also have an image, which will be the material texture icon, material label, say material, and it should actually be probably 24. Speaking of 24, I have beaten Metal Gear Solid 5 finally. A little off topic, but while I'm setting this up, trying to entertain you guys. Yeah, I kind of see what people were complaining. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I kind of see what people were mad about with the whole ending thing. It was kind of bad. 35 5. Yeah, the ending was pretty out of the blue. I mean, it was expected, I guess, but like the actual ending just kind of happens, and you're like, really? That's it? There's nothing more? And it's kind of sad. I mean, the game's good. I like it. The game's fun. Repetitive, admittedly, but hey, I like stealth games, and in that game, it's really good stealth. You can do really great stealth mechanics. Alright, I think this is, let's call this material. Oh! Okay, Unity. No one will know my password. Apparently I don't know my password. Interesting. This is odd. Okay. One more time, and if it doesn't work, I'm just going to go offline. Make sure I got my email right. Okay, I guess I must have just put it in wrong the first time. That's what I get for talking about Metal Gear Solid, or Metal Gear Solid, I guess. Oh well. But yeah, I enjoyed the game. And I'm financially stable enough, that $60 for probably 40 hours at least, maybe closer to 50 of gameplay was, yeah, it's pretty good, and it was fun. Like I said, Fulton extracting people is just really, really great. So that's fine. Prefabs, flavor text. I don't even remember what I was doing with that. Huh. Oh no, I remember what that's for. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Nope, I remember that now. Huh. Yeah, that was right. I forgot about that. Um, yeah, I'm still working on that. 'Cause I'm always working on like 10 things at once. Because I can never be happy otherwise. So we'll go back here. Let's make some. Let's see. Texture viewer material button. Let's call it other for now. Don't want to ruin the surprise. Okay, material button, and then something I like to do whenever I make prefabs from things that were in a vertical or horizontal layout group, I like to actually size them so that they will still be visible when viewed from a distance, or when viewed and just dragged into a scene. Because if I had just left it as it was, whenever it gets dragged in the scene, it was going to have a 0, 0 size and nothing would be visible. But now I could just, have it be there. Anyway. So now we have that. Let's open up this. So texture edit view. It's getting pretty beefy, but oh right, I forgot to check the line count. Ah, that kills me. I don't know how many lines I have. No. Ah, I'm guessing over 100 though. Definitely over 100 actually. Although I can get rid of this now. That might help ease my conscience. I would prefer not to be eased of my conscience. Yeah, it's not as bad. That's probably closer to 100, 120-ish. I don't know. So I was scroll to the top. Let's see. I am looking at update button, public, rect transform, materials, scroll area, public, button. Oh. Do I want to make a new button? Probably not. I tend to do that way too much as it is. My first solution whenever I need a button to do something, like, oh, I'll make a subclass of button and I'll have it have a reference to things. And I'm like, I don't always need to do that. So, material selection button. That's fine. And then, let's see. Oh, actually, I do also want a public game object material area, I guess is what I'll call it for now. Oh, and I will also need up here public button material button materials, not materials, materials. All right. So now we scroll down to the bottom here. Right above. Where the heck did I? No, updates right there. Yeah. I like to order my update or my on-click functions in the same order that I ordered the buttons. So private void on materials clicked. That's going to be material area dot set active true. Oh, actually, let me do this. If material area dot active self else all right. Oh, okay, weird. Copy this, paste that, hit false instead of true, and then right, we're gonna have another function for populating the materials, which means that we will actually. Oh no, we do already have the list of materials here. That's good, or the dictionary. So, man, all the way up at the top here. That's kind of annoying. Private void generate material buttons, and then private void clear material buttons. All right. This is gonna be fun. For each string s in materials dot keys. I can't do that. So there's a weird bug in, well, I don't know if it's a bug. It's like an oversight, a programming oversight. So when you're doing iterations and assigning delegates to reference specific objects, you cannot use a for each loop. So I couldn't write that for each loop where I would just use the keys of the dictionary here, which are strings, and then assign some callback that whenever the material buttons are clicked, it'll pass information on what material was clicked on. I can't do that with a for each loop because Unity does not work like that. You can do it in a for loop, but you have to do sort of weird index stuff. So here's fun stuff because I don't like iterating through dictionaries with numbers. So we're gonna have for int I equals 0, I is less than materials dot count I plus plus. Okay. Int index equals I. This is the weird thing that you have to do that index thing. Then we would have button b equals pool manager dot request button prefab material. I think it's select. Right. Yeah, I gotta rename that. And then have its parent be area, except it's material scroll area. Yes. Okay. Just so that I'm not crazy. Yes. Okay. Let me rename that. If I can. There we go. Rename. Prefab. I like to have prefab in front of anything that's a prefab that's going to be instantiated in, or at the end of everything that's going to be instantiated in. Okay, so here's the fun part. Materials dot get. No. There's index, isn't it? Oh dear. Oh, there's not. I thought that there was a way to add a specific. Maybe not. Crud. Okay, how do I want to do this? I thought I could loop through a dictionary with a index number, and I guess I can't. Maybe that's something in Link. Actually, I might try that. See what Link has. because system.link is actually pretty nice when it comes to doing iterations through stuff. Materials dot. Here we go. A lot more. Contains value count element at. Yes, that is what I want. Maybe I just have to do that. Okay, that's nice. Okay, good. So it returns a key value pair, right? Yes. Okay. So it's going to extend. This is going to be fun. Oh, I think I have to do the string material. And kv.key. Yep. Okay. So here we go. This is one of the reasons I was thinking about doing a custom thing, because I have to access the text object below button, and I don't like doing get component all the time. But I'll tough it out, I guess. So let me pull this, move this up. That way I have all of these referencing each other right there. So b dot get component in children text dot text equals kv dot key, and then b dot on click dot add listener. We're going to say null for now because I forgot to write a function. Get rid of all of this. We don't need it. Okay. I think for the most part that's what I would want. See, and here's the other problem is I have to. I want to render out the. Well, I guess I'll just compile it. I don't know if that'll throw an error because I'm not done yet or not. So if I look at my material button, right, that's it. Starts. Okay. Zoom in so we can see it a little clearer. We have. It's not just. Oh, let me turn off my freaking grid. It's not just a label. We also have this little image here. And if I do get component in children image, it might get the the image on the button first, which I don't remember if it goes in that order or not. I think it starts at itself, then goes down. At least that would be my assumption. But so custom button time, maybe. Wouldn't kill me. I mean, it would be fine. It's, yeah, I'm fine with that, I guess. So let's go scripts, content creation, importing, no, not importing views, data. Not crazy about that. Do components. Add, create, sharp script, material, selection, button. Yes, fine, reload. How did it know? I hadn't even opened it yet. No, now it's just being petty. Reload all, it's fine. Alright, so here's the fun part. Oops. That. There we go. Namespace. Text request. Really should put my company name in there. It's fine. And then using Unity Engine.ui, because we're just going to inherit directly from button. Normally, I would derive from selectable, I believe, which is the base class for button, and a lot of other stuff, because that lets me do a much more extensive inspector without all of the stuff that button has tying it down, which really is only the events, but I don't want to make any new events for this, so there's no need to worry about it, I guess. So for this, we want a public text label, public image preview, and then I guess I could actually do public void initialize button and pass it a string name and a material mat. Okay, then we basically say label.text equals name and preview dot we're gonna make this actually a raw image dot I think I can just say nope, probably I don't remember if it's main texture or I don't think that's what I want. Maybe it is. Equals mat.main texture. It's get, right. I remember, it's some specific thing on raw texture. Because I want to be able to set a texture, not a sprite, and image uses sprites, but raw image uses textures. Let's see, collider, color, constant force. It's nothing terrible, if I remember correctly. Because we have set this stuff before. Excuse me. Texture, there we go. Yeah, I thought that's what it was going to be, but... Okay. So, with that... we can do... Let's go ahead and do a public void clear button. Just copy this. So that I can get rid of the references in case I need it, or in case I need to free up memory. So the one downside to using buttons or a derived button class is that you do need to have an editor for it, because if I were to say let's remove this and let's just drag material selection button on it, move this up. Yeah. So you can see this looks exactly the same as the button inspector. And that's on purpose. It's because the way it's coded, the button inspector is used for all classes that derive from it. So in order to override that and actually see those fields, I'm going to have to make my own editor script. I could actually go into debug view, and then I have access to those. But that's messy, and if I wanted to make this code available for future people to use, I wouldn't want people to have to go into debug mode for some of my stuff. So we'll just go ahead and make a custom edit script. It's not that hard for the stuff. It's usually like 15, 20 lines of code. So material selection button inspector, really stupidly long name. But I always make sure that if I derive from button, I have button in there. Yes, fine. Get rid of this here. And I'm just going to sort of take the easy way out here and go up here to Hoosier Games, Gizmos, Hoosier Games, core scripts, views, file explorer, editor. There. Okay. So all this, 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 down to here. Get rid of all this crap. Copy this. And now what this is doing is it's going to, oh, no, right. No. Oh, right. No, that's fine. I can change this to text quest. There we go. So what this is just doing is it's going to override that button inspector. And I can get rid of these because I only need 2. Right? Yep. Get rid of you. And there's label and preview. Why didn't just rename it? Yeah, and I can also get rid of that while I'm here. Yay, I cleaned up 2 lines of code. Yeah, that's all it is to override that. That's all it took. That's really similar to my File Explorer button. I just realized that. Oh well. They do slightly different things, I guess. So, not the end of the world. Oh, it's already 9. I'm on a roll. I'm in a good place. And the only reason I would stop is probably to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but I can watch that on Hulu, I guess. A week from now. Hope it's good. Probably won't be. I don't know. Last season was kind of dumb. The ending was kind of dumb. Be nice about it. It was kind of dumb. Like, really kind of dumb. But yeah, so now we have that nice little, those fields. So we can just go, oh, right. Gotta change this. Make that a raw image. There we go. Let's try that again. Boop. And boop. Okay. So now, get rid of this. Put this over here. That's our material button. Delete this. Go back to our texture edit class. Don't need this open anymore. Texture edit view. Change that from button to what was it? Material select. What the? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, did it? Oh no, I just default. I thought I got rid of it automatically. I'm like, wow, Visual Studio, that's not good. Oh, and that's also not true anymore. Namespace, text quest. I might end up just expanding this into a general Hoosier Games thing, but for now, it's just going into text quest, I guess. Okay, go back up here. Yeah, let me see material. Selection button. I gotta change this. And now, what I can do is also do my favorite thing, which is public text label get return label else label equals get component children text. I like doing these get statements because then it means that people don't have to assign them. It'll automatically look for them, I guess. Be the same thing here. Oh, yeah, that should also be. So, with that, oh, we can also close the camera because we don't need it open anymore. So with that, we could just say b.label equals, oh, dot text. Then b.preview. Oh, actually, don't even need to do that. I can just say b.initialize. And then kv.key and kv.value. And then, oh, right, I gotta add, okay, this is gonna be a delegate. That. And then it will pass the, let's just go ahead and put this down here. Private void on material button, selected, and it's going to pass a material. On material selected, ky dot, or not ky, kv dot material, or dot value. Okay. So, now that we've done that, we can go ahead and say target dot material equals mat. I think that's what we want. Yeah, pretty sure that's what we want. I don't think it's shared material. I think it's just material. Go back here, make sure there's no errors. Also got to assign everything. All right, no errors. Materials, material scroll area. Pull my options, pull this up, materials button, put that there. And then material button. Just turn this off, apply. So for right now, just saving, getting that all applied. It's not actually going to do anything because I need a well, I need a button, create material button, and it's gonna have like a pop-up probably. Okay, so this thing is just a bunch of interfaces. But I guess that's what happens when you try to make a comprehensive custom content creation thing. That's probably going to be terrible at first, but hopefully there'll be a time when I'll be able to sort of test these tools out with the community and actually let people mess around with them. Because that's how you get bugs. That's how you find them. Not how you get them, how you find them. Because I could sit around messing with this stuff for 1,000 years and I would probably not find very many bugs with it. But the moment I give it to one other person, the first 5 minutes, I'll be like, hey, I found this bug. And I go, yeah, yep, that's a pretty bad bug. So, material scroll area. Crud. So, we're going to do this actually. Get rid of this mask. Move this. Do that. Rules. Selection area. Yes, I know. Scroll rect over to selection area. That's all there. Just drag it in to be sure. That's good. And then we're going to have to add a image. Move this down, add a mask, move this up, open it up, don't show the graphic. I will show it for now. And the bottom should be 100? 50. No, 75. Material scroll area. Actually, you know what I might do is I might just do 5, 5, 5, and then make sure this is set to be solid. And I might actually keep it like that so that I can have immediately darker area. So that way I know when it's gonna, or people know when it's gonna clip. It's not gonna just be this invisible clipping plane. So there's our scroll area. But the reason I did that is because immediately below this we want to have a button. That is the create material button. Create material or new material. I might, yeah, I'm starting to get worried I'm making this too technical. But then again, this is kind of, this tool is kind of inspired by Overgrowth, the Overgrowth content creation tool set. Theirs is even more complex than this, I think, because I have no friggin' idea how half the stuff in there works. Which is a shame because I really liked building some of the levels for that game, or working on levels for that game. Had a lot of potential, but there were some problems that I ran into trying to build content for it. Oh, that was height. I don't want that. There's a lot of problems that I ran into building content for that game, and I wasn't too happy with it. Which, you know, sucks. Because it's a good game. It's just kind of buggy. So let me do that. And then, as always, I make sure that I have 5 padding so that things don't bleed. And we'll turn this to 24. That seems to be sort of the good default size for these things. That's all fine. I don't know what raycast target is. Interesting. I'll have to look into that. Maybe that's like collider based or non-collider based stuff. I don't remember that option being there. Okay, so for now, I'm just gonna have it do a default thing, because I would have to go into a whole new pop-up window. Say like, well, enter the name of your material, and then hit create. But then you need a cancel option and all that crap. And then of course we need a delete. Crap baskets. So hooray. So let's open this back up and add a material selected. Oh, and I'll do this too. Okay. This is actually going to be... Oh! I almost didn't have... that would have been bad. Private list material selection button. Material buttons equals new. Oops. There we go. Material buttons dot add. This is going to be material buttons dot count. And for this, I'm actually not going to do anything. Oh no, I have to. No, I don't. Hooray. Don't need to do this. Don't need to do this even. Um, instead, well, actually, I do need to do, yeah, no, I do. Still need some things. So we can get rid of this, though. Let me get rid of this. And, oh, boo, no, we can't. Dang it. Fine. Material select, oh, no, material buttons. Dot count -1. And as long as it's greater than or equal to 0, and I minus, because we have to work backwards to recycle everything as we go. And index equals y, or equals I, get all that stuff, that's fine, that's good. And instead of that, we're going to be equals material buttons I, oh, index, sorry. Okay, we're not going to be initializing that. Instead, we're going to say material buttons dot remove b, and then b to onClick. I think I can just say dot remove all listeners, because I don't really care to specify. I found that that can be a little wonky. And then finally, tool manager dot recycle. Don't need angle brackets. B dot game object. And then just for safety, material buttons dot clear. See, I wonder if I can just get rid of this remove. I don't need both, but it's a safety feature, so we'll just let it go for now. So that should get rid of all the material buttons that have been created. Yeah. Okay. Oh, man. I'm wondering if I should... instead of having a pop-up that just lets you enter the name of a material, if the buttons should actually, instead of having a label, have a text input field so that people could rename them whenever they want. Ah, man, why do I make it hard on myself? Because I enjoy the pain, you know. Well, and it would be, I think, better for users to be able to rename materials, not just be locked into having them. So, yeah, we'll keep going. I'm also kind of experimenting tonight with a great grammar, a longer form of streaming. So maybe streaming for hour and a half, at most 2 hours. Because I don't really know what the length is people like. I don't know if streaming for longer will let people tune in a little bit easier because it'll have a wider net being thrown, but people might get bored and leave. I don't really know. So we'll experiment with it for a bit, So far, I'd call today a rapid success. I've had a whopping 0 viewers. But, it happens when you start out, I guess. Although, admittedly, I have been doing it for a couple of months, but it's not like I've had much exposure before that, so... I mean, I'm amazed that I've had 2 or 3 people drop in at once before, so... Let's see. Texture loaded, material selected. I've already done all that crap. And the last thing I need to do is actually... Oh, right. What is it? On update clicked. Here we go. We'll just call on materials clicked whenever a material has been selected because we want it to close the materials window. So let's go back here. which means that we're going to have to, real quick, material selection. Okay. Oh, I don't actually have to change anything in the inspector because it doesn't use types. I just have to change this to input field. And everything else I think is right. Oh, that's super nice. Okay. And back here, we will have a public button, add material button. I wonder. I don't know. Well, I'll let this. I'll finish up real quick, and then I'll go back to Unity so we can see a visual thing of what I'm pondering. I say pondering to make me sound like an elitist. I was gonna say another word there, and I couldn't find a nice one. I tried for 5 seconds to think of something that wasn't a swear word or another derogatory term, I guess. I don't know. I just couldn't think of one, so it tells you where my mind is tonight, I guess. And then on new material clicked. Okay. We will have on texture loaded. Here we go. Okay. Oh, I set the set. I guess I could actually just get rid of all of this because it's not really necessary anymore there. That's why I'm gonna go down here. No need to worry about that. Don't necessarily need to do that. I already set that up here, right? One material selected, yep. So we don't need to do that there. And materials.add. Oh, man. Okay. Doing this, if we're going to let people rename it, and it currently uses the texture path of the main texture to just to find its place in the dictionary. But what we actually want is we want the string value that players have attached to the label to be the materials identifier. So that means that we need to have a callback or an event that gets triggered whenever a player is done editing the material or the button. So up here we're gonna have public delegate void selection. No. Rename event. New name. Public event. Rename event. On material renamed equals delegate So while we're doing this, I just got the weirdest uh, hankering to watch Hellsing, which is like early 2000s, I want to say. Also weird that I use the word hankering. Um, anyway, on it was end edit probably, and it's gonna be a string value. But yeah, it had oh, why am I blanking on his name? Hugh Jackman. I kept wanting to say Samuel L. Jackson. I'm like, that's not right. Hugh Jackman in it as Helsing. That might have been before he was Wolverine, or like right after the first one, so before it got huge. It was an okay movie. Not great, not game changing, but kind of a nice dumb movie to watch. So initialize button, and then we would say label dot on end edit right there. Dot add listener, then on end edit. And then we will go ahead and remove that down here. Not sure if I should really care about removing the listener and adding it each time. It probably would be fine to do it once, but for safety, just in case. And then on, what did I call it? On material renamed. Value. So this is not great, but yeah. So what I will probably have to do is actually string old name so that the dictionary back before knows what to look for to replace so that I can get rid of the old value. And then of course I'll have to have safety checks to make sure people don't rename things to have the same name, but I'm not going to do that tonight. I will have a private string current name equals that. And then here we will set current name to be name. And then we will pass current name as well as set current name to be value. So, and the reason we do that is actually I don't think it'll be too bad now. Yeah, because it's on inEdit, not on change. Because on change happens like every time you type a character, and I wouldn't want that happening all the time. But on edit only happens when you either hit enter or you click off of the area that you were entering text into, which I think is dumb. They should separate those two, but maybe they have actually. I haven't checked it for a while, but last time I tried it, I was like, no, they're tied together for some stupid reason. Okay. So, jeez. New material, base material, materials.add. Wait. No, that's fine. And then it would be pool manager dot request material selection button material button. Oh, really? Material selection prefab. Material scroll area. Hey, That means that we're going to do this. We're basically going to actually just copy this code up here. This script is getting too big. I don't like it. I don't like when my scripts get this big. Let's see. Basically just copy that. Selection prefab, that's what we want. We want to keep that new mat. Comment this out. Initialize. Default, and then new mat. And then new mat. Okay. I think that's what we want. Should handle everything. And then last thing. New material. Nope. Add material button. Dot on click. Add listener. Oh, I hate it when it does that. Dot add listener. On new material clicked. I should rename that to be on add material, or rename this to be new material. Okay. So we've been down in the bowels of Visual Studio for a while. Oh, we got a variable down here that's being assigned. Oh, yeah. Don't need that. I hate the stupid line endings. Ah! And I also hate it when it does that. Opens Visual Studio in a second spot. So I had two visual. Okay, it's... So it just makes me open two... Reload. So I guess let me close this one. And drag this one over here. There we go. I just have these debugs in there. I'm going to get rid of them. Okay. Don't need this. Get rid of it. Material selection button. Texture edit view. That's where we were. Okay. Alright, I don't need any of this now. So. Alright. Oh, I almost forgot. I gotta pull this up here. Then change the label to add a input field. Okay. Don't worry about that. Let's get rid of this, I think. Should be fine. There will not be any placeholder. There's no need for one. Move this 40 to the right. Change the files, text size for that. And then get rid of you. Oh. That, what the? Why is, input field, oh, that's from the right. Ah, it was supposed to be from the left. There we go. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Okay. Hit apply. That's all good. Get rid of that. Okay. So now, material button. Oh, really? All that work, and that's all I ended up having to add there? Okay. Oh. They also changed the icon for the new game object stuff. It used to be that, like, generic... Oh, no, that's after it's been added. Never mind. It's fine. Okay, so let me disable this. And watch it probably explode! Turn that off, because we don't want it on at first. And hit apply here. Probably could have just not deleted it. So let's see what happens. Did I forget to add a material or a material list option? I'm gonna guess yes, I did. No, materials button right there. But did I forget to code it? At the very bottom. New materials, I did. Material list button, materials button. On click dot add listener on materials clicked. There we go. Let's see. Material list. Bam! New material. Bam! Oh dear. But that makes it hard to click. But let's see what happens. Material. Material list. It kept the new mat, which is good. But it didn't load the texture. At least I don't think it did. So, I mean, actually what we can do to test it further. New mat. Oh, that's super bad. Okay. Material list. Add a new material. Oh, that was me talking. Sorry. Change this to test. Select that. Yes! Aha! We have materials! And we can swap them dynamically. So let's just go ahead and, I don't know. Default. Oh, default is nothing. Multicolor texture then. Let's update material. We got a material list. New map. Material list test. Ah! Yes! Alright. We are on the road to Viridian City. That was a terrible reference to a terrible song. Although, admittedly, upbeat. If you've never listened to it, you should. Again, it's terrible. It's an old Pokemon, like, first generation Pokemon song, back when they were making really, really bad songs all the time. So, that might be a good place to call it quits for tonight, because we've done a lot! We have... I gotta smooth that scrolling out a lot. Not bad when it's up here, but when you're really far away. So we have camera movement, scrolling in, scrolling out, actually looking around the object, so it's a 3D view. We've added material support, so it'll generate materials, and you can select them, and you can change them at runtime. Don't have to worry about it. Man, that makes me feel good. So I guess the next few things that we need to work on for this editor will be support for turning specific features and materials on or off so that materials aren't using extra processing power when they don't need to be. So just using these check marks basically to turn things on and off. Making it so that you don't drag, or so that you don't rotate things when you're clicking and dragging over here in the main menu view. And making these texture files, which I meant to look at that. My cat really wants attention. And making it so that these, look at them real quick. Texture edit, root, side panel, materials, selection area, material button. Okay, material texture icon. Yeah, it's not getting the texture set. I'm gonna stop playing. I'm gonna see if I can, if I just forgot to if I omitted that real quick. Because conceivably I could have. So create gets the material. Initialize button. Preview.texture equals mat.main texture. me see if that's generating properly in the mat or in the material textures. Material list, new material, default, blah blah blah. Oops. No, that's fine. Multicolor texture, update material, material list. That's fine. And then let's do this. So, I mean, it's there. Wonder why. Oh, I'm also curious, actually. I'll make a new one. Call it that. Which is not a valid file name, but it's fine. Back here. Stone wall, update material. Material list. Oh, they're all just called custom material. But they're not the original material. Interesting. I mean, that's fine. Doesn't really bug anyone. Yeah, the last thing, I guess. I wish I knew why that texture isn't getting set. Huh. Well, in any case, it's not the end of the world. Or just like a minor bug that's probably somewhere very frustrating to try and find. Oh, and of course the overlay canvas. Texture edit, root, side panel, options. Oh, not options, materials. Selection area, material scroll list, just out of curiosity, one more time. Material texture does have a reference, right? Yeah. Okay. It's fine. Maybe it has to have a material too. I don't know. For now, not too worried. I'm happy with how far we got tonight. So yeah, the next things are just going to be sort of those minor improvements. Also importing meshes, not just showing textures on objects. And I have a script in there that I have a script that I found, and I'm sort of dissecting it to see how they generated the mesh from a file. The script is kind of messy, so I'm probably going to end up just looking at it, seeing how it's done, and then writing my own that might be hopefully a little more performant. But at that point, we won't just be limited to this cube. We'll be able to actually import models and see how textures look on them. I keep hitting my mic. So for tonight, that was really, really nice progress. And save all that because I don't want to lose any of it. Yeah, so I'm happy with that tonight. We'll be back to streaming again next Tuesday. Hopefully we'll be able to pick up the pace of development again. Graduate school really ground things to a halt. So it's been sort of trying to play catch up. And going over to Unite was fun, but it meant that I couldn't really work on the game for about 5 days. Although I did expand on that Google, what was it called? My export sheet data tool, which is just I'll pimp that again real quick. Or I guess shill it again, so that'll be my second shill for the day. I don't know why I keep saying that word today. Because a while ago I sort of showed off a tool that I made for exporting sheet data as JSON or XML, and I've expanded on it quite a bit actually. So there's stuff like unwrapping single rows, forcing string values, exporting arrays now is supported. So I can do all sorts of. I guess this is a bad file to show it. I probably should actually do the test file that I show that actually has a bunch of stuff in it. But I added support for JSON escaping, and in XML you can export stuff as child elements now, so it'll all have. Oh, right, that's because of the weird formatting. So you can export stuff as child elements of an array in XML, or you can go to JSON and export cell arrays, which actually escape everything in everything in the JSON stuff escapes JSON now. Or you can force it to be string values, in which case it won't necessarily escape everything. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Actually, I think it always does if it's a string, because it was going to escape it as a string anyway. But yeah, I had some time to develop that. And if you're a game developer doing any sort of spreadsheet stuff, I mean, obviously, I would suggest using the tool because I built it. But I built it for importing data into TextQuest so that I could keep everything on Google Spreadsheets, and then I wouldn't have to download 10 files for one object. But it's largely been designed with stuff like game stats in mind. So you just have your keys up at the top, and then you have your values below that. So hopefully this will get some use and be useful to people. Just because I would like to have something that the community is happy with. I have no idea if it actually works or not, but I don't know. Hopefully it'll be good. Hopefully people will use it. If not, I mean, I used it anyway. I used it for myself, so I'm happy. But yeah, if you're using spreadsheets for anything, I would say at least give it a look, see if it does what you want, and it's free, so just use it. But yeah, that'll be it for today. I thank you for watching the archive video because no one tuned into the live stream, sadly. But yeah, pretty good day for it. So thank you again, and I will see you all next week.